mountain in the clear sky in a morning shot. I'm standing up by our table, campsite. We're looking back down the hill a little ways to where we had to park our bikes in the trailer and haul all of our stuff up the little incline there. But there's Bill in the white shirt, Bobby with no shirt, Kevin, Luke, and Nathan sort of going counterclockwise or clockwise around. This is a late evening shot of the window area, and the sunset in the sky was really pretty from our campsite. By the way, Nathan and Kevin and Luke started out to hike down to the window while Bill and Bobby and I set up camp, fixed supper. Luke turned around and came back, and it's a 2 or 3 mile hike down to the window and then back up the mountain to our campsite. So Kevin and Nathan were probably 8:30 or 9 o'clock before they got back, and I can't remember if they had flashlights with them or not, but they were way past dark getting back to our campsite. So we were all getting a little worried about it. We'd already eaten supper back at the camp because we weren't going to be, Bill said he didn't want to head out on an empty stomach to go searching for 2 lost boys. So they made it back, thank goodness. The next morning, the boys spotted these caves across the little gully there by our campsite, so they climbed over there down into the gully and up the mountainside through the loose rock, tried to get up to the cave area there. Looks like they probably did. Anyway, we had breakfast, packed up, and we're getting ready to head to Boquillas. Here's another view from our campsite of our bike and trailer and the boys way down there in the gully. Almost can't see them. Here's a picture of Casa Grande or Emery Peak the next morning with the bright morning sky sort of highlighting or silhouetting the rock mountain. This is sort of an interesting picture. If you can see, we're headed out of the basin going to Boquillas, and different looking rock colors and things like that, but you see the Sotol cactus off to the left, see the roadway, and there's my shadow and Nathan's shadow taking the picture, looking back down at the window. Nathan did a pretty good job taking some action shots here. Here's another shot leaving the basin. You can see the campground. That's like where our campsite was, right down there. But you can also see the window and see how far off it is. It was also pretty steep and slick right there where the waterfall is, and I understand Nathan almost slipped and fell. We had made it over the ridge and out of the basin. We're going down the Chisos Basin Road, and in the shadow you can see somebody's mirror and tail light right in front of us. Just as pretty in the morning as it is in the afternoon. So, another shot going on down the Basin Road back towards the headquarters. I think that's Bobby and Luke in front of us. Red helmet. I think we're heading down towards the basin, and we just go down and down and down for like 25 miles on this long, desolate road. But sort of a mist in the air and all kinds of colors down in the lower areas. It's really a beautiful morning. This is a great shot looking down towards Boquillas Canyon, and you can see the two bikes in front of us. No trailer on today's ride. The itinerary called for us to go down to the Hot Springs area, which used to be sort of a resort town with a hotel, stores, post office, and they had this hot springs house right in the edge of the river. You can sort of see the what little bit of the framework is still left intact there, and the boys were going out there to get inside the building area where the hot springs are. The river was flowing pretty good at that time. The water was pretty cold. It was March, like the 17th or 18th, something like that. And so Nathan and Kevin somehow or another got out into the deeper part of the river and were being washed down river a little bit and couldn't seem to stand up or swim to the shore. So we were all fixing to shuck off our boots and some of our clothes and go in to save them, but they finally were able to stand up and walk out. But pretty neat place there, a lot of history. Here's a picture of I think this was the post office. I believe is what its sign says, or Hotel 1 on it, there at the hot springs. Palm trees growing and everything, right on the banks of the river. Going on down Highway 118 towards Boquillas, from Hot Springs, there's this tunnel through this mountainside there, sort of neat, just a straight tunnel through there. Probably 100 yards, 200 yards through there. Anyway, we decided to go to the Boquillas Canyon entrance, and there's a big sand slide there that comes out of a cave, an old mine probably up in the mountainside there. The canyon walls there where the river cuts through are about 1,500 feet high, and there were some kayakers and canoeists coming down through there, and when they got next to the walls, they looked like a little pencil laying on a floor next to an 8-foot wall or 12-foot wall. They were just teeny tiny. But making our way down through the bamboo and the cane, they had cut a sort of a tunnel through all the bamboo and the sugar cane, on the path down there to Boquillas Canyon. Really sort of a neat experience. Here we are at the mouth of Boquillas Canyon, and pictures just don't do it justice. Those walls, those cliffs are just so tall, and the river's probably 75 yards, 50 yards wide here or so, and flowing pretty good, and it goes on down there and just snakes its way through the canyon for 10 or 15 miles or so. Here's a picture of the sand slide. There's Luke sitting, I think that's Luke, or maybe Bobby or somebody sitting at the bottom of the slide, and the boys I think that's them up there at the top where it goes into the cave. But I think Kevin and Nathan climbed all the way to the top and then tried to run down the steep sand wall there, or slide, and wound up falling and rolling most of the rest of the way down. Anyway, we're going across the river on the flat bottom John boats. I think it cost $1.50 for the big boys and 75 cents a piece for the little boys, is what they told us. And they took us across, and then they had burros across there that you could rent and ride on to town about a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile. But they only had like 2 of them there, and there was 6 of us, so we just decided to walk and save our money and get a little exercise too. But we walked up to the town of Boquillas del Carmen, and had lunch there. This is up in the town there at the little restaurant. We were sitting at the table. They had like 20-ounce Coca-Colas or Pepsi-Colas or something like that to drink, and then of course the usual tortillas or chalupas or tacos or something like that, enchiladas. And there's Bill with his back turned to us. Anyway, we had lunch there, walked on back, and then to the river, took the ride back across, and then rode back to our camp. And Nathan and I went on back to Seminole Canyon for the night, and then back to Waco the next day. And I mentioned earlier, Bobby and Luke and the boys wound up going all the way down to Corpus Christi to Mustang Island, camping out there on the island, and stretched their week out until Friday afternoon, I think. Nathan and I got home Tuesday afternoon. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the pictures. I wish we had movies of this, but this is all we had back then. So, hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.